My name is Lily, and I never thought a simple joke could almost destroy something I spent years building. My husband, Noah, and I had been married for 8 years, and though we weren't perfect, we were solid. He was kind, patient, and never the loudest in the room. The kind of man who fixed things quietly, remembered birthdays no one else did, and somehow always knew when I needed a hug more than words. We had a small group of friends we often hung out with on weekends, dinners, movie nights, sometimes just sitting around laughing about life. It was all harmless fun, or so I thought. One Friday evening, our friends came over for dinner. There was music, food, and laughter filling the house. I was in the living room with 3 of my close friends, Sarah, Mia, and Emma, while Noah was in the kitchen finishing up the grill. The conversation started light, but as often happens with wine and teasing, it drifted into territory I wish it hadn't. Sarah joked about how her boyfriend couldn't fix a thing around the house, and everyone laughed. I, trying to be funny, added without thinking, "At least you have a boyfriend who talks. Mine just fixes things and thinks it counts as affection." They laughed, and I joined in, unaware that Noah had just walked into the hallway to grab plates. I didn't notice him standing there, hearing every word. I kept going, adding another careless line, "Sometimes I think Noah would rather repair the sink than talk about feelings." More laughter. It was a moment meant to entertain, but in truth, it was unfair. When I finally looked up, Noah was standing by the doorway, quiet, holding the plates. The laughter faded instantly. He gave a polite smile that didn't reach his eyes and said softly, "Dinner's ready." He didn't look at me when he said it. The air turned heavy, but I brushed it off, pretending nothing had happened. During dinner, everyone tried to keep the mood light, but Noah was different, distant, polite, too calm. After everyone left, I went to find him in the kitchen, where he was quietly doing the dishes. "Hey," I said carefully, "you were quiet tonight." He didn't look up. "Guess I didn't have much to say," he replied evenly. I felt a knot tighten in my stomach. "Noah, it was just a joke," I said, forcing a laugh that felt hollow. He turned then, eyes calm but filled with something that hurt more than anger, disappointment. "Lily, jokes are supposed to make people laugh, not humiliate them." The word humiliate hit hard. I tried to explain, to tell him I didn't mean it that way, but he just nodded. "It's fine," he said, and walked upstairs. But it wasn't fine. The next few days were quiet. Noah still spoke to me, still did all the small things, made coffee, kissed my forehead before work, but there was a wall between us now, one I had built without realizing it. I started noticing how much I took for granted, the way he always asked about my day first, the way he fixed things before I even noticed they were broken, the way he never complained even when exhausted. And I'd reduced all that to a careless punchline. A week later, I decided to fix it, not the easy way, but the honest way. I invited the same friends back for dinner, but this time, I told them before arriving that I needed to say something. When Noah came home that night, confused to see everyone again, I stood up in front of them and said, "Last week, I said something that made people laugh, but it hurt someone who never deserved it." My voice shook, but I kept going. I made my husband the target of my insecurity. I called his silence neglect when, in truth, it's the way he shows love, through actions, through patience. "I'm sorry, Noah. You didn't deserve that." The room was silent, and for a moment I thought I'd made things worse. Then Noah stood up, looked at me for a long time, and said quietly, "Thank you for saying that." He didn't smile right away, but when everyone left later that night, he took my hand. "You didn't have to do that," he said softly. "Yes, I did," I replied. "You deserve to be seen for who you are, not mocked for what you're not." He finally smiled then, the first real one in days, and whispered, "You just did." That night, we talked more honestly than we had in months. I told him I sometimes mistook his quietness for distance, and he admitted he sometimes wished I saw how much love there was in his silence. It wasn't a grand movie moment, just 2 people learning each other again. Since that night, I've never joked about Noah like that again. I learned that love doesn't always speak loudly, it fixes, supports, and stays even when you make mistakes. And sometimes, it takes one careless moment to remind you how fragile respect can be, and how powerful it is when you fight to rebuild it.